Hello, my fellow homeschool friends. I am coming to you here in this new year, which hopefully is going to be a wonderful year for all of us, but I'm coming to you fresh off of a homeschool burnout that I didn't even realize I was having. I realized in this last week or so that I was burnt out with our homeschool and with sharing about our homeschool because our homeschool was so bland and boring and, once again, burnout. But I have been spending this time between Christmas and New Year's getting a fresh excitement, a fresh fire for our homeschool. I've really been thinking about what is my ideal homeschool? What are things that we've done in the past that we loved that we need to incorporate it again? What are some things we're doing now that we need to give up? And I wanted to share that with you today, maybe help inspire you to think back and forward a little bit on your homeschool journey as well. And this is just going to be a little bit of a chat, a little bit of a catch up. I really want to hear from you guys. How's your homeschool been going? What's been working for you? Let me know all of that stuff. One little update is in this last week, I moved my homeschool newsletter and kind of my website actually too, over to Substack. This is going to make my life a little bit easier, so I can decide to send out an email when I post new posts, or sometimes I can just post one without blasting everyone with emails, and that's just gonna make life easier. You know, there's a lot going on with homeschool and stuff, so the ways I can make my life easier, the better. So I set that up. I migrated everyone that was currently on my newsletter list over. Unfortunately, no fault to these people, but a lot of people marked my newsletter as spam, which I don't blame them because they probably signed up like 9 months ago and then they never heard from me, and now they're like, who is this person that's sending me emails? I never signed up. They did, it's just there were crickets for a long time, so they forgot. That's okay. I'm also, if you head over to my Substack, which I will be leaving linked below, I'm going to be bringing my reverse planner over there. That's one of the things that I give for free when people sign up for my newsletter. So that will be there if you want to grab that. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more coming up, but I just wanted to let you guys know, if you want a newsletter from me, you may already be signed up. You may have gotten the list of our favorite books of the year. That's the email that I sent out earlier this week. If you didn't get it, maybe it went to your spam folder, or maybe you need to sign up. There will be a lot of book recommendations in my emails because that's what I really love, in case you haven't noticed. So I know it's been a while since I posted here. I would love to hear, what kind of things do you guys want to see from me? I know part of it, I'm going to be sharing our homeschool journey, what's working in the season, what isn't. There's going to be a lot of book recommendations. I've been looking at the stats. I haven't posted here in a while, and the videos that have been viewed are all like book recommendations, especially my older two kids' book recommendations. So I'm gonna have them come on and give an update of what are their favorite books right now. But other than that, what kind of stuff would you like to see? Let me know, because sometimes a person doesn't know the things that they're maybe good at or the things that they have to share. Other than books, what would you like to see? So I've been spending the last week or so rereading A Waking Wonder by Sally Clarkson. This is my third read through. I'm not quite halfway and just loving my time. This is the book that has taken me out of my homeschool burnout. I have many tabs from my first or second read through. I have, let's see if I can even show you here, many highlights from my first and second read through, and then this time I'm going in with a pen and underlining other things. It's amazing how different things can stick out to you in different seasons. But I'm going to be referencing this book a little bit because this has been so instrumental in pulling us out of this burnout. So I'm going to be talking about it a lot. Sally Clarkson is definitely my homeschool role model. I try not to put her on a pedestal too much, but there are not many homeschoolers that their kids are all grown up that write as prolifically as Sally Clarkson. Like, there's just not that many resources out there. So I tend to gravitate to her because she's amazing. Her kids are amazing. And I just get a lot of inspiration from her. So I've read many of her books. but this is one of two of my favorite of her homeschool books. Oh man, every time I open this, I start reading things and then I get distracted. I just opened to the page where I'm at. The last thing I underlined is, to create a life where the hours and moments can be filled in satisfying interaction means that we must choose to fill the time with planned personal time that satisfies to the depths of their hearts, minds, and souls. Kind of out of context, but man, we're gonna be talking about a few things in here. So like I said, I've been experiencing some burnout in our homeschool. The interesting thing about homeschooling is it's always changing. You know, our kids are growing, we are growing as homeschool educators, situations change. We moved provinces about 6 months ago, so the whole homeschool system has changed. There's so many differences here. We only moved one province over, but it's a completely different ballgame here. And so it makes sense that our homeschool is going to shift as well. I try not to, but I can get discouraged when something that was working is no longer working, or when I forget about something that I love. And I just need to remind myself that it's okay, like things change. We need to be flexible. There's never gonna be like one thing that you do the entire time throughout your homeschool career that is like gonna be perfect all the way through. While I've been thinking about things that I want to change in our homeschool, this is very like iffy to say, let me say it and then I'll explain myself. I've been romanticizing our homeschool. And by that I mean just honestly thinking about like, what would my ideal homeschool day look like? What are the things that are included? What are the things that are not included? And how can I take that and make it our homeschool? And by this I don't mean, you know, idolizing certain things or comparing too much or having envy or being unrealistic. I just mean like actually thinking about what are the things that would make us kind of have the most perfect homeschool day, where keeping in mind like there's going to be some struggles, you know, you still have to do some learning, kids might have some resistance, but keeping that in mind, how can I make the most ideal day? And I just really want to make our homeschool as beautiful as I can, and I really want to awake wonder in my kids. I want the learning, and this has been a really big one this year. I feel like the learning has been completely uninspired and the wonder has been non-existent, and I want to ignite that spark again and get them excited about learning, not just, you know, filling out a workbook. I feel like it's been very dry and I want to light that fire again. One of the things I like about homeschooling, and Sally talks about on page 43 here, is that it's not about teaching every fact or subject our students need to know. Instead, it's about an organic lifestyle that synthesizes family, home, classroom, and life, and honors the human beings we serve. This means our plans will be constantly changing, we will grow and be stretched, developing life-giving goals in the scope of our moments. And I feel like that kind of sums up what I've been thinking and feeling. So let's dive into this. I have broken this up into things I want to quit, which I just shared a video on my personal channel sharing a bunch of things I'm quitting in my personal life. If you guys are interested, I'll leave that linked below. But these are things I want to quit for homeschool, or at least reduce or something. And then we're going to talk about things that I want to do. The things I want to quit list is actually decently short, so that's good and bad. And the first one is comparing our homeschool to others. This can be so hard, especially with social media. You don't know what everyone's homeschool looks like, but you make judgments and assumptions based on the things that they share, you know, like based on a picture or a little video that, oh, their kids listen all the time and it's just this sweet little homey place where they just learn and love each other and it's all great. I know that's not the case. I know, but it also does look like it. And so I just need to stop comparing myself, especially this year. I have a kid that is in full-time public school, not by our choice, but because they are in foster care, and that is the call that social workers made this year despite me trying to fight it. That has been a hard one for me because I really like control over our schedule, and I feel like when we do fun things during the day, he's missing out, and I feel bad about that. And then when he comes home, he's exhausted, but I kind of want to do things together. So part of this is just going to be appreciating the season that we have right now, finding the benefits to it, and then I'm really hoping that for the next school year we can quit the whole public school thing, because I'm so over it. The biggest thing that we're going to be doing coming up here as we kick off the second half of our school year is quitting curriculum that doesn't work for us. This year we've done the most bigger curriculum stuff that we've ever done before. I shared the Good and Beautiful haul as well as our curriculum haul in the summer, and I was very excited about it. Many pieces of it have served us well, but there are many pieces that have not. I'm probably going to expand a little bit more on this as we go in the next few weeks. I'm going to be sharing a review on the Good and the Beautiful. I want to share the pros and the cons, and in that video I'll explain what is working for us there and what we're dropping there. And then we've also been doing some Apologia stuff, which is just not working. We tried to tweak multiple times and it's just not working. The kids are so bored, which is very sad. So and also with the Good and the Beautiful, my kids are being very uninspired. There are some benefits to it, some parts we're still going to be using, but I feel like a lot of the curriculum choices that we've made have ended up hurting their creativity, their inspiration, their love of learning, and I want to change that. That being said, I do think it served a good purpose as we were getting our feet under us, learning a whole new homeschool system. There have been some benefits, and I'll talk more about that coming up. We're not completely scrapping everything, but I think it's just time to make some changes and kick out a few things that aren't actually working. And then this one, I feel maybe a little biased because we are on Christmas break right now, but I want less screen time, and also less screen time during the school year. But my kids get more screen time during breaks and it really bothers me, but I also want to teach them that they can have, you know, a holiday and relax and have more screen time, even though it irritates me. I have issues I need to work out, I know, but I do want less screen time during the school weeks as well. I don't have an exact system in place for this right now, and one of my struggles with this is when the first grader gets home from school. He's tired, he's been at school all day, he doesn't want to be there, and then he wants to do some screen time to relax, and then I want to let other kids have some screen time, and this is a bit of a struggle for me. If you guys have some suggestions, I'm curious to know how you do screen time. How do you do it with different kids? Yeah, leave all your suggestions and comments below. That might help me a lot. So like I said, there wasn't very many things I wanted to cut out or reduce, but there's more things that I want to add in. And oddly, I think our schooling will take up less time because of all of this, at least kind of overall, even though I'm adding more than I'm subtracting. The two major things that, well, yeah, three, I guess, subjects, math, science, and language arts, have been taking a lot of time for my two older kids. And so because we're going to be tweaking those quite a bit, it's going to free up a lot of time. Okay, I have a list here of things that I want to do or do again, incorporate, and one of them is just a mental thing, and that is come to terms with the fact that my oldest will not be joining us for really any family time anymore. She really likes to work independently, and because she is above grade level, and then my other three are kind of closer together, it's hard to do things together. I really miss the whole like morning basket learning together time, and I just don't really see how that will work right now. And I think instead of forcing it, I just need to be okay with her going off and doing her thing, and then spending some time together with the other two that are home, or three when the first grader is home. I want to find the beauty in this season, the fact that she's getting older and she's taking more responsibility. There's benefits to that, and I just need to focus on the benefits. Since we moved, so over 6 months ago now, We have not done any family read alouds. Well, we always do audiobooks because I'm not very good at reading aloud, and I would like to bring those back. This one might involve my older child as well, because I like to do audiobooks at lunchtime when everyone's eating, so they're generally quiet, their mouths are full, they can listen. But once again, now we've got quite a span of listeners, so I need some really good audiobook suggestions. Usually this is an area that I excel in, but I'm thinking of books more towards like the 8 to 10-year-old range that are good enough that a 14-year-old would be interested. If you have suggestions, definitely let me know. I personally have not read very many middle grade books in the last year. Usually I'm more in that space and have lots of ideas, but I've also been burnt out from middle grade books, I feel like, so I haven't read any, but leave your suggestions. One of my big goals coming up here in the next year is to get my younger 2 kids reading. So my 6-year-old is doing the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. We're on lesson 35-ish, I think, and he's doing really well. He's really picking it up. I waited longer with him because we've got some delays there, and this is just like the perfect season. He's snowballing. On the school break here, he's been doing 2 lessons a day, and sometimes even 3, so that's good. I only generally go up to 80-85 lessons with each kid, because by that point they can read on their own. So I'm hoping in the first few months of the year here he will be done that. And I had started this book with the 4-year-old, and she wasn't retaining it as much, and I was finding it hard to do it with both kids separately, but at the same time kind of. And so I need to, I think, start over with her, or just go back and refresh on some letter sounds and then dive in and hopefully finish the book, you know, before next Christmas. Because she's younger, I have no problem making it take longer. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. I want to bring back our weekly game schooling. We used to do this once a week, play a few games together, and I don't know, over time it just stopped. Now with Christmas here, we've been playing a lot more family games, and I just want that to keep going, especially in the colder months. We have a lot of games we like to play. A lot of them have some kind of educational benefit. So I want to put it on my like weekly schedule. Not that I actually really have a weekly schedule, but you know, like mental schedule. I do plan on sharing a couple different videos, sharing our favorite family games over the next few months in different age ranges. So if you're looking for some, I definitely will have some great recommendations. Hard to do in the winter here so much, but I do want to get back into nature study and nature journaling, notebooking. I think this will actually be easier in the spring than it has been for the last few years, because I think my younger 2 are really going to get into it and enjoy it. So I'm going to probably wait a few months. It's mostly just snowy and white, and there is some things to do in the winter here for sure, but it's a lot more fun when it's warmer and you can actually use your notebook outside instead of your hand freezing while trying to do stuff. So that will be in a few months, but I'm excited about it. I wrote unit studies with a question mark. It's been a while since we've done a unit study, and I'm not fully convinced I want to. This might be something maybe once the first grader is no longer in school. I'm going to explore some possibilities of doing family unit studies, at least with the younger 3, because I've never done it with 3 of them before, and then we'll see how it goes. I do like, what I like about unit studies is everyone has something to talk about that's like on the same topic, even if you know that you're learning various levels of stuff depending on your age. There are some benefits, so I'm gonna give it a try and we'll see how it goes. Another homeschool goal of mine is this kind of not really a homeschool goal, it's more of a kid goal. I want to get a couple kids checked out / diagnosed with things this year. This is something that I have not done for reasons that I feel like are justified. I didn't want to put labels on kids, but I think that having a diagnosis with a couple of them would be very helpful, especially as they get older and they go into things like I'm pretty sure one of my kids has dysgraphia, like checks every single box. And so if he wants to go into post-secondary education, a diagnosis will really help him because he'll be able to get some help or understanding with the fact that his printing is pretty atrocious. So I'm hoping for getting a diagnosis for future help, but also maybe some current supports. So I may or may not share some of that journey just in regards to like maybe hopefully making things like helping people that might be on a similar journey, but I also want to be very respectful with kids and privacy, and you know, I don't want to highlight struggles, but also I do understand that as someone that's like looking for help in these areas, it would be nice if more people shared stuff. So trying to figure out that balance as well. One thing that I've really missed is picture books. So we now are in a different library system. The libraries here are not nearly as good as what we had, which is unfortunate, but and also picture books have really gone downhill in the last 5 years, like so bad. They need a lot more proofing than they did back in the day. What I did recently is I went back to my old blog posts. So for like 5 or 6 years, I don't even know how many years, I wrote a list of our favorite books that were published, picture books that were published that year. So I went through all those ones and I went to see which of those books our library here has available, and I requested them so I can read these picture books that we loved in our earlier homeschool years and read them with the little kids. And I'm paying attention as well to books that are being published in 2025. I'm getting access to a few of them early so I can find the good ones, weed out the bad ones, hopefully share the good ones with you guys. And I just really miss a good picture book. I think a person's never too old for a good picture book. Like if it's a good one, any age will enjoy it. So bringing those back full force. And now that we are in a new city, I want to get out and check out some museums, go to some plays, do some like cultural things here. I don't even really, I know of a few ideas of things that are available, but I don't know like the whole scope of what is available. If you guys have things that you do in Edmonton, let me know because I'll be looking things up, but it's always better if there's like a recommendation because then you know it's actually good. We did a decent job in the summer of getting out and doing like some of the outdoor things, but now I want to look at some of the indoor stuff. This is also a little bit difficult with an age range of 4 to 14, trying to find something that almost everyone enjoys, at least to some extent, can be difficult. But I can also do a little bit more specific things like with older kids together and then the younger kids together sometimes. But as much as possible, I would like us to do it all together. One thing, I guess a little spoiler for my video when I'm sharing the Good and the Beautiful review, I am on the hunt for a language arts program without all the frills. You know, the Good and the Beautiful has many benefits, which I will get into yet, but it also has art study and geography, and art and geography are things I usually like to teach together. And as well, a lot of the Good and the Beautiful, like what we've been working on is American geography, like specific states, and it's just not as applicable to us here in Canada. So I would like a language arts program that's like language arts. I have not started my research, partially because I don't even know what I'm looking for. I wouldn't mind if there was like a separate grammar curriculum versus a like novel study curriculum. I don't really know. If you guys have favorites in the language arts realm, let me know. A spelling curriculum or book, yeah, all of that. Any suggestions you have, let me know. Okay, 2 more things. For science, we will be completely scrapping Apologia at this point. We are going to do a mixture of trying this out, seeing how it goes. We're going to be using, what's it called? The Big Fat Notebook of Science. Put up a picture because I don't remember what it's called. This is supposed to be a collection of the entire, all you need to know about middle school science, I think. And there's different chapters with all the different areas, and I want my older two to go through and read the chapters, answer the questions in a separate notebook as far as like the reading and writing part of science, but then to really inspire and put that spark back in science, I'm gonna get them to watch a bunch of science videos. So we will probably be using some crash course videos. They have different playlists on different areas, and I was gonna get each of my kids to pick out an area, or I will pick out for them because I do know their interests. Pick out a playlist and they watch a couple of those videos each week. I don't think that crash course is perfect. We will need to have a conversation, especially with my 11-year-old. I think my 14-year-old is pretty good at like filtering things, but just being like, you know, not everything that they're saying is true. We don't believe everything they're saying, but also there is a lot of good science information in here. So trying to teach kids to weed out certain things, but glean the information that's actually useful. There are other YouTube channels we might be using as well. My 11-year-old loves a whole realm of science. He loves like the engineering stuff, creation. He has a bunch of YouTubers that he watches really nerdy science videos from already, which is great. But this will just be a little bit more streamlined, and I might get both of them to write like a sentence or two, paragraph maybe, on what the video is about. Haven't fully fleshed it out, and we'll just try it for the first month of 2025 and see how it goes, but that's what I'm planning on doing there. And then the last thing, I mentioned this earlier, is I want to get back to using my reverse planner. So the idea of a reverse planner is you don't write down what you plan on doing, you write down what you did. And I have felt like the most inspired times in our homeschool have been when I've been using the reverse planner, and I want to get back to that. So I do have a free printable, which I will leave linked below, will be on my Substack. I have used it digitally before. I've kind of created a digital reverse planner for myself in Notion, but I find the physical one has worked the best for me, so I'm going to go back to that and just track all the different areas that I see us learning each day. So this is a weekly planner, but I like to take time each day to write down where we were learning. And sometimes it can be surprising the different areas where one is learning. So those are the different changes that I want to make in our homeschool, the things that I'm excited to incorporate, and some things I'm excited to let go of. I just want to read a little bit more from A Waking Wonder here. This is page 14, kind of skipping around a little bit. Here is kind of what I'm hoping for the next half of our homeschool year, and hopefully just continuing. She writes, I hope to awaken wonder and stir imagination. How often we miss the fingerprints of the artist behind it all because the eyes of our hearts are distracted or busy with more temporal demands, the noise of life beckoning us to follow. How different the fruit of a life given to create time for wondering, imagining, reflecting. But it must be sought intentionally. It must be fought for among the constant voices tempting us to the draw of busyness. Those who influence children must fight to protect time for the imagination, to have space to work, to have time to engage. To give a child the gift of time to imagine, to dream, to create, to engage, and to wonder is to allow time and space for his heart to be touched by the beauty surrounding him, for his mind to have room to grow strong on the feast laid out for his imagination, and for his emotions to bathe in the tranquility of a peaceful life in an unhurried rhythm. Then we offer a feast of theology, math, story, literature, virtue, faith, science, nature, art, music, and culture, upon which to apply his wondering and wonderful mind. Wonder is the catalyst in shaping a powerful, engaging intellect. So yeah, I'm going to be finishing this book pretty soon, also trying to soak it up. Very inspiring for our homeschool. I would love to hear if you guys are doing any kind of homeschool reset here partway through the year, or if you are in the Southern Hemisphere looking forward to starting a new homeschool year. What are some things you guys are excited about adding in, removing? Let me know. And also, if you guys have more books that are not by Sally Clarkson that you'd like to recommend, I'd always like to hear them.